Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome to episode 136. We are at the Porsche Experience Center in Atlanta. Around the table, the much fancier table, twice the real estate table here.
Well, it is Porsche, so I would expect.
And a much
We're
better
all about
die
luxury.
cast than
than our Walmart $5 specials.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
do have our normal cast of characters all here. Not all will be in front of the camera, but of course we have Manny Albin, we have Rob Sass, Damon is at the controls today, and our special guest whom we are quite proud of because we've known her for quite some time, and that's Ayesha Coker, VP of Marketing at Porsche Cars North America. Welcome to PCA Insider.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much for having me.
Now we go back,
Yes.
and I say that with all my heart is how proud we are because we go back to like
Thank you.
2010.
That's right.
2010,
That is the year I
and you
started.
were brand experience events, and we were on the same flights a lot of
Yes.
times. We were at a lot of events making things happen for members.
Many site visits.
Many site visits. I remember the Baltimore Grand Prix. That was what 2011 or 12.
Yes, absolutely.
And we had to we came in to help you because you weren't feeling so well.
I remember.
Remember that one?
We have those days sometimes.
we have a
That's
lot
right.
of-
But we push through.
We pushed through.
Because that's the Porsche way.
We pushed through. So
Yes.
thank you for coming on,
Yes.
and we want to kind of share all that we know about you with our members. So let's start a little bit about your background. And I don't know that Manny and Rob know, but
No.
you have ties to Maryland.
I do. So I attended University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
Yes.
I saw it on your LinkedIn when I was preparing
yes.
for the podcast. Yeah.
And I majored in fashion merchandising
Mm-hmm.
and minored in business administration. And that afforded me the opportunity to actually do a dual degree program with the Fashion Institute of Technology in New
Oh,
York.
wow.
So my passion lies really in design, which you can easily see why I'm so drawn and love the Porsche brand so much, because immediately that's what I leaned into when I started with Porsche in 2010, is that creativity and that element of design that really speaks to the DNA of what Porsche is all about.
Absolutely.
yeah, that seems to work really well. Are you the only FIT person here that you know of?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
And I think I might be the only fashion major. I mean, I've been around a long time, and I know many employees here at PCNA. I haven't come across anyone with the fashion background
And
yet.
you're the only Terp, probably.
No, TERP is actually University of Maryland College Park.
Oh, that
I was
really was
Eastern
told- I learned
Shore.
something. I thought
Yes,
just
so
anybody
I
was-
am a hawk.
Did not.
Wow! Wow!
I had a faux pas.
This
okay.
you know.
Trying Gordon right now
Maryland,
is killing me.
Manny.
Well, I am. I thought the University of Maryland was University of Maryland. I didn't realize they had different animals.
Yeah.
He always makes fun of me for not knowing all the sports
It
trivia.
explains why I do see the Hawks bus go by
There you
on
go.
95, and I never put two and two together.
Yes, and I was homecoming queen one year, and
What?
they
Wow. We're
and
gonna have
it's
to dig up-
Lady Hawk.
Lady Hawk.
We're going to need photos for that.
Yes, you'll have to forward a Lady Hawk photo.
I'll dig it up. I'll dig it up.
So how about automotive?
Yes.
In background, growing up, family?
No, just a love for vehicles.
Really?
I've always had a love for cars in general. And mainly because I thought from an aesthetic standpoint, they were just always appealing to me, when especially German luxury. I've always had an affinity for, I won't mention the other brands, but the look and the styling and the care that they put into creating their vehicles. I've always noticed them and taken notice of how different they are and how they stand out among other automotive companies.
And the details.
And the
It's all
details.
about
All
the details.
about the details.
Now, how did you end up at Porsche?
So that is a interesting story. I worked for another automotive partner, German company, and a colleague that I work with there had actually started with Porsche a few years before I even thought of joining the company or had the opportunity to join the company. And we kept in touch, and the position, experiential marketing position, became available. And I applied for it, not even knowing at the time when I was applying for it that there were a few people who had come over from this other company. So I sometimes always say it's a match made in heaven, and what is for you is for you. And I went through rounds and rounds of interviews, and I landed the position in the marketing department in the experiential marketing team. And the rest has been history.
Our early experiences together is really boots
Yes.
on the ground.
Absolutely.
So maybe talk a little bit about that.
Well, with experiential marketing, it's and I was going to speak a little bit about the importance of this later on, about meeting people where they are, right? So creating experiences that connect with your audiences. And what I really liked about experiential is that it is very grassroots. It is very intentional. And you really get to see the reaction of the customer real time. So it's not like when you're driving in a car and you see a billboard, you would not know whether that billboard resonated with people or they really understood the communication strategy that you were trying to convey. But when you're at an event and a vehicle is on display or you're doing test drives, you immediately get the response from the customer right then and there, whether they like the design, whether they like the drive, whether there are things that they would want changed in the vehicle. You get that real time, and that's what I really like about experiential marketing in general.
And if you like that, being tied together with a brand such as Porsche,
Yes.
it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. And we always make sure the quality and care that we put into our products, we put that into our experiences as well, because we want our customers to have a seamless interaction with us through and through.
Now, in your early roles, what were the sort of the big events of the year?
I would say I would probably say 24 hours at Daytona was one of the larger event that I executed very early on in my career, because I was over motorsports and auto shows specifically. Back then, we hadn't expanded into culturally relevant topics such as art and fashion and things like that. At the time, it was very focused on the automotive industry, which really leaned into our DNA, motorsports, and then of course auto shows.
Now, we're fortunate enough to wake up every day to be around this brand. You probably, when you were in school, you probably didn't think that you were going to land in the automotive scene, did you?
Never.
Yeah.
I thought I would be working maybe say for a fashion house like Saks Fifth Avenue, and being a buyer, because merchandising was my background at the time. But I immediately, when I started in the automotive industry, I saw the connections, and I saw the familiar industries that were familiar in and how they approached, how they spoke to customers and their offerings. And I really like that tailor-made, that customization. That's so much of what fashion is all about, and that's really what we lean into as a brand.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have, I wouldn't say fallen into it, but just like both of you, right? Every day what we do is what we would probably do anyway, just because we love.
Nothing
love
to do
what
with
you do.
fashion, though.
Right. Manny's all about
Manny.
fashion. He says it.
So I remember hearing the name experiential, and at the time I never heard that.
Right.
And is that fairly new, or
No, actually, experiential has been around. I've been with the company 14 years. Even I would say prior to that, it's just I would say a fancier way to say events, right? Experiences. Exactly.
So when you came on, did you have a lot of latitude of not dictating, but helping to mold how the
Yes.
events were? Because I saw like changes from, like you said, where it was motorsport and it was catered and whatnot, to now it's gone to the whole lifestyle.
Yes, and it's more of an evolution than a revolution. I think everything that we do, everything that we touch, just like how we design and build our cars, every time you do something, you want to make sure you're doing it better and better each time. And you find tweaks and ways to which you can do that. So when I first started and was handling the hospitality area for the motorsports side of the business, I immediately leaned into what would a customer want to see and how would they want to feel when they walk into our events. And I didn't take for granted that the execution of the hospitality had been done a certain way for a very long time. Every time I just wanted to be better and better for our customer. And I took that approach into everything that we were doing at the time. And I felt like if we wanted to grow as a company and be inclusive and want to reach new audiences, we needed to change our mindset regarding the things that we were attempting to do. And that is why then adding in layers of culture, doing driving events that were outside of your normal racetracks or auto shows, and adding an element of having a hosted, a VIP event where music was introduced and a nice catering component to it. Just elevating the experience in general was something that I felt was needed at the time, and I've always taken that approach in everything that we do.
And I'll give you the kudos of, I feel like the events that Porsche and you're responsible for now are just as aspirational as the car themselves.
That's right.
Right?
Do you find that your fashion background is more relevant than maybe you thought? Because there are a lot of things in terms of activations that take place at places like Pebble Beach and Amelia
yes.
Island that feel like some of the pop-up events that you see in the fashion world.
Absolutely, and but I've always knew from the beginning that link was there, right? And that's what actually drew me to want to work for Porsche. I just needed to figure out a way to bring it out in what we did, and to make sure that people knew that we were doing it in a very authentic way that always connected back to our heritage and our DNA from the very beginning. Porsche design, Porsche lifestyle has always been part of the things that Porsche has always been about as far as offerings are concerned. So to me, it was very seamless and an easy transition. But I think it's really bode well for the company because it's allowed us to reach a lot of different audiences in a very unique way. Driven women, driven youth, meeting people where they are, doing things that are unexpected of the brand is just unique. And I love the flexibility that we have to be able to do these cool initiatives like you see here with Backdrop, leaning into a company that is known for designing homes and creating high-end paint that leans into making your home better and more customizable. And I think the fact that we teamed up with them is something that people maybe 14 years ago would have never even thought was a thing or something possible that we should do. The same as the scarf we designed for our driven women that really ties into the design of our Taycan. And we took inspiration from the Taycan and curated this scarf specifically for that reason.
Now, having these ideas or thoughts of what you're going to do with those products works because of the palette really that sits behind you, right? Like you draw
The
from
variety.
the history, the variety.
Yes.
Even if you gave this recipe to another automotive manufacturer, they wouldn't necessarily be able to execute it because they don't have that rich history of textiles and colors and paint and also bringing all of that back into the cars as well, right? So it matches perfectly.
Yes, yes.
I'm sure people are wondering now, looking at the scarf, can they buy it?
Actually, they are not for sale.
Exclusive.
And they're very exclusive, but hopefully in the future there will be the possibility to be able to curate and design things like that we will make for sale. But we have to see. More to come on that.
But the paint they can buy.
The paint that came out,
yes.
and I think I told you I'm probably one of the few that have painted all. Well, I think it was. Is it all 4 colors, or are there more than 4 colors?
No, there was 4 colors produced, and it was for the anniversary, the 75th anniversary.
So I used all 4 colors.
You added a 5th.
I did. I mixed PCA's Club Blau.
Oh,
so we
wow.
have Club Blau in the
That's
lobby as
awesome.
well. So
I love that.
We incorporate it. So we have multiple doors in the office with all the backdrop
See, you
colors.
just took a platform that we'd already, and you made it better.
Yeah. Well, we just made the color we needed.
Yeah.
You didn't have it in backdrop, so I was like, I need Club Blau somehow.
Got it.
So what's, when we started together and were boots on the ground, and there was somewhat of a social media and websites and activations of online registration and such, but the landscape in digital media has changed dramatically
Absolutely.
over the years. And what you're doing and how you're getting things out, how have you incorporated, how have you kept in line, and what's the I don't want to say it's the secret sauce, but
Right.
you've been able to create this vibe for Porsche and what we do that is infectious.
Oh, well, thank you. And that's a team effort. I cannot sit here and take credit for that. I have a spectacular team behind me that is just as passionate and has such a strong love for the Porsche brand as I do. But what I really like about the digital space is being able to personalize content in a very quick, agile way. And it allows us to reach such a wide variety of an audience base for us. And to me, it is a medium that really shows up in a big way for us, especially when it comes to the unique storytelling that this brand is so great at doing.
Now, earlier this year, one of the themes, full service,
Yes.
at South by Southwest. I
Yes.
think that's where it was launched, and
Yes.
we were able to. It's almost like a Porsche wonderland that you walk
Absolutely.
through. Maybe you can share with folks how that came about, because honestly, your team, the marketing arm here in Atlanta, you think of Porsche and how big of a shadow Porsche casts as a brand. But the team is quite small. I don't think
You're
you need
right.
to say numbers, but
Yeah.
it's very small and focused.
I would say, in comparison to probably other companies, we are
Right.
rather. I would say we're
Efficient.
There we go. That's a great word. We are efficient with our resources, but more importantly, it's not the amount of people; it's the kind of people. And the kind of people that we have here at Porsche are people who are very passionate about what they do. And so I always say, and my team gets on me about this, I said, when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And so we wear many hats, and we do a lot of different things. And the full service theme really came about from a teammate of mine. His name is Philip Money. He is a senior
Someone
manager.
else we are very proud
Yes,
of.
Yep.
Yes, he's a senior manager of experiential marketing. And he worked with our local agency to come up with a new theme that really encapsulates what Porsche is all about. And we felt like full service really coined it the right way, meaning you would walk into our space and we would have everything that you would need, whether it would be the vehicle that you've been wanting to see and touch and feel and talk to some of our product managers about, or whether it was a quick relaxation or a bite to eat, or maybe partaking in some retail therapy with Porsche Lifestyle and Porsche Design. Also having the ability to drive our vehicles at some of these events that had the full service theme attached to it, as well as we even had e-bikes there for you to be able to experience. So full service means exactly that. You get a full service experience when you come into our environment.
What I found with that activation, PCA members, you don't have to encourage us. Like, we want to be there.
Yes.
It's automatic that you have our support as ambassadors.
Absolutely.
But I feel the full service activation, sometimes a brand that's so well thought of can be intimidating to someone that's new to the brand or coming from another brand. And the way that you set up the activation, it was very inviting.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's intentional.
It's by design, right?
It's by design. We want to make sure that all feel welcomed in our space. Whether you are someone who has been a 20-year owner of a Porsche or someone who just purchased their first Macan electric vehicle, which, by the way, will be available at all dealerships on September 18th.
There you go. By the time this will be out right around that time.
Yes.
September.
Close enough. But
Yeah.
put your orders in now.
There you go.
So the full service,
Yes.
I didn't realize. So you're saying full service theme was just like a North American thing.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm very
Yep.
impressed. I thought it came from Germany.
No.
It was like a worldwide thing. I didn't
No,
realize it was just
the
North American.
overall one of, and we have multiple campaigns that we launch when we launch different vehicles. So for like the Macan Electric, you may see this in a lot of our marketing assets. Keep Your Essence. That would be a global campaign.
Okay.
But full service was something that
very cool.
the team here
Wow.
came up with.
Launching that at South by Southwest. Obviously, today we talk a lot about influencers, people that are new to the brand. How did they take it? How did they?
Oh, I think it was very well received. I think the team did a really good job making sure to explain the overall concept. So when people walked in, they didn't have to navigate the Porsche full service world alone. There was somebody there to guide them and take them through the space and kind of make sure they understood what all the offerings were.
It looked like a gas station.
Parts
Like a
of it,
full service,
yes,
yeah.
parts
Gave
of
us,
it was leaned into our heritage, kind of paying homage to the past, but then also showing the connection to our full electric vehicles for the future.
And I love the panels that you had because it not only, again, some people when they come to the brand, they feel like they're not quote unquote worthy because it might be so technical. But
Yes.
the sessions that you had, it was a nice balance between the technical side, learning fashion
Sure.
tied into it,
Yes.
but then also you included the local community
Absolutely.
as part of the whole experience.
And that's what we want. We want to make sure that when we show up, and I always say meet people where they are, that we are showing up in an authentic way, and we're embracing what that community is all about.
Do you want to share how Porsche buyers are, how has it changed in the last 10 years? How are you kind of seeking them out? We talked about in the early days about conquesting, having
Yes.
people come from other brands and have our brand be inviting and not be so intimidating, so to speak.
Yes.
How's that changed over the years?
And actually, I think for our buyer, for our buyers in general, I don't think there is a cadence of it changing or what they desire and want has changed. People want quality vehicles. We produce that. People want a luxurious feeling. They want their interaction with Porsche to feel special to them, whatever that means, whether that is the driving experience, whether that is being able to sit down and customize their own vehicle. Those are all things that every buyer would want. And so we don't necessarily segment whether we're going to show up in a different way for a driven woman or people who are already like in the brand and know the brand through and through. For us, we want to make sure that we are offering that same top level service and quality in our vehicles to everyone. And that is what any buyer would demand.
What we always talk about with folks that call into our office or at events, like we're very much proud of how Porsche stays focused on its heritage, what it's producing as far as being an aspirational brand, cars that are still very much the most athletic of its.
And you say aspirational.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and because some other brands, we won't name names, but they've just gotten so wide and varied and not focused that I think, for us, it's important to keep how special it is to become an owner.
Right.
And when you say when people come, they want that experience, and Porsche is known for providing that.
Yep. And I mean, what we also lean into is just because we may expand our portfolio and our offerings, the one thing is true is that Porsche will always remain Porsche. And no matter if you select a hybrid vehicle or all electric vehicle or an ICE combustible engine vehicle, 911, the Taycan that we have, the new electric Macan that will be available soon, they're all true still a Porsche. And the driving experience will show that.
And what you don't see in other manufacturers either is you obviously have a focus on what's next, what's coming about. But even at South by Southwest, you had a segment dedicated to the classic Porsches.
Yes, absolutely. Because unlike other brands, we still have our classic vehicles driving on the road today.
Over 70% of them, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's true to the endurance and the performance of what Porsche is all about. It's the same with our motorsports division. We really lean into making sure that whether it's a classic vehicle, a motorsports, race car, 911, a Taycan, a Macan, at the end of the day, it's Porsche.
With PCA members, with us here at the table, it's not hard for you to make us understand. Cars, Manny, would you agree that cars maybe back in the 70s, there was like a huge delta between cars that were good and cars that were bad? But modern day cars are that gap is smaller. So how do you explain to someone that might not be a car enthusiast or might be coming to the brand for the first time the passion around the Porsche brand?
It's only one word that comes to my mind so quickly, and that's community. And really, that's why we love what the Porsche Club of America has done for our brand for so many years. The fact that people come and want to join your organization, it's the community, it's the knowledge base that of many of your members, longtime members, but also embracing new people coming into the brand and bringing them into the community and explaining what it truly means to be a part of something like the Porsche brand and being part of the PCA. I really feel like that is infectious. And I think that's what really, again, sets our brand apart from any other brand.
Yeah, we're very much proud of that. And we are all inclusive. And,
yes,
people come on, or people that own certain models come on at a different pace.
Time, yes.
But we're always looking
for different reasons.
For different reasons,
yes.
Exactly. And so obviously the next big wave for us is those that are in the EV market.
Yes.
And we also have them at our events. We also want them to run on our tours,
and, yes.
so on and so forth. So yeah, it's. Can you talk a little bit about the strategy for the EV products? And that's a big task, right?
It is a big task, but we don't look at it as anything different from any of our other offerings. It is just something else that other people, that somebody may want or need. And so we approach it the same way when we would roll out any of our other vehicle portfolios when we launch new vehicles. So to me, it's giving someone else the choice of deciding whether they want to drive a hybrid or they want to drive an all-electric or they want to drive a ICE combustible engine. It's all about variety and giving people options.
Is there any more of a concerted effort when you do a Taycan or soon-to-be Macan event of getting them behind the wheel for EV? Because a lot of people we ask them, have you driven a Macan or Taycan rather?
Yes.
And majority say, well, no. And we're like, you have to drive it.
You have to drive it.
It's a Porsche through and through.
Absolutely.
The soul is there.
Exactly.
And you forget that it's not a gas-powered car.
That's right.
Or it doesn't have an exhaust. Everything in it, you forget that you're driving what people think is an EV.
Absolutely. And I think for us, the important part of the EV movement is the educational part of it. I think I know when people get in and experience the Macan Electric, as they probably have experienced the Taycan, you will know for sure that it is the DNA and it is Porsche. what we want to also educate the new audiences on is the ease of charging, and being able to understand and navigate the whole electric grid, and understanding that it could be a slight lifestyle change to what you're used to, but it is growing, and things are in that space are being more and more available for the ease of being able to drive electric vehicle as your daily driver.
Yeah, as a daily driver, if you have the ability to charge it at home,
Yes.
then it's really a non-issue, right?
It is
It's really
seamless.
for most people that have that option. The 1 or 2 times a month maybe that they take a super long trip that they might be concerned. Like, history repeats itself. Like,
Yes.
we talk about when the 356 went to the 911. People were like, 2 more cylinders. How can you have 2 more
I
cylinders?
went back and I read some of those letters to Panorama from
Yeah.
1964 and 1965, and you would be shocked. People were
And
tearing
the
their
world.
garments.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
End of the world.
Then you went from air cooled to water cooled. That was going to be the end of the world. And Manny was around when they introduced the Cayenne, right? That
I thought you were going to say a much older car. I'm like, wait a minute, we're not that old, that different.
right, but there,
But the
there's-
sustainability of it and the future of what it means to drive an electric vehicle it's important, and it's an important platform that is still meaningful for a wide variety of an audience. It's there and it's here, and we've embraced it. And I think, like I said, as long as we give people options, I think
Yeah.
that's the best thing to do.
When I talk about EV, and some people are very passionate about where they stand, and I always say take the politics out of it, and I just look at the pure performance
Love it.
of the vehicle. Like,
Yes.
I had the opportunity to drive the Taycan Turbo at Parade for a few days, and how effortless it is to go from one little lane to another lane, and how smooth and quiet the grip, the braking. Again, doesn't matter how it's
power.
powered or
Yeah.
how,
Yes.
it's a phenomenal.
That's the
vehicle.
challenge, though, that we have in the magazine is we're agnostic, whether it's internal combustion or electric. We just care about how the car drives. But we also have kind of the same challenge that you do in education, because there's a whole new lexicon that goes with
Yes.
EVs, things like regenerative braking, level 2
Yes.
chargers. And we're all familiar with those terms, but sometimes we forget the readers aren't.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
have to back up, and we have to be a little bit more explicit
Yes.
about how we're using these terms, and remember to tell people what we mean in some
Absolutely.
instances.
Yeah, so we are, we're kind of. I think it's exciting that
Yes.
we're seeing sort of going through
The
the evolution.
yes.
There's still options if you
Yes.
you want ICE, if you want full electric, if you want hybrid.
Yes.
There's take your
Something
pick.
for
There's
everyone.
something for everyone, and
Yes.
that's why. Yeah, it's just funny to me how people are sometimes just so stuck in their ways and don't
I
want
always
to.
tell people there's so horses out there. In fact, there's more horses they say now than there was in 1800s.
Yes.
They still play records.
And people still drive Model Ts to Cars and Coffee.
That's
Drive
awesome.
them.
Yeah.
So
That's
I said, your gas cars will still be around. They may not eventually be producing them, but Porsche Classic will still be supporting them, and
That's
still have
right.
parts. And
Absolutely.
if anything, you'll be the star at a car event, because you can lift up your engine lid and do a couple revs and show them what it used to be like.
That's right.
So there is about to be a comparison that I'm excited is because you'll have the Macan electric available to drive,
Yes.
but then the ICE version is still relatively available and,
yes.
and current, and you can drive them back to back.
Yes.
And I think that's going to really be eye-opening for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity to charge it at home, to have all that power and that efficiency and the simplicity of many less parts and
Yes.
and maintenance and all that, I think it's going to open a lot of people's eyes.
I won't
Yes.
have anything to talk about with members. So
Yeah.
with all their issues
Yeah.
with gas engines.
Exactly. So should I plug it in for 2 hours or 4 hours? Yeah. I'm looking at the Revolve box
Yes.
here, and the next question I have on the line is, as you talked about, PCA embraces anyone that wants to come to the table and
Yes.
enjoy the lifestyle and enjoy the brand. But we have to talk about, you're doing quite a bit to appeal to women buyers?
Yes, absolutely. Because I feel like one, women have they have a passion just like anyone else and they have a love and an interest in performance, in customization, and in Porsche. And as we look to curate different things, again, meeting people where they are. They're into fashion, they're into philanthropy, they're into sports, they're into motorsports. So I think meeting them where they are and giving them and making them feel like they're part of the brand because they are is what we really lean into.
Yeah, and I feel the women that are active in PCA
Yes.
are even the more bolder ambassadors, right?
Right.
They really embrace and they want to show their involvement. And I think having an ambassador that is that vocal, and they'll do, they'll do the driver's ed, they'll do the tours, they're the volunteers. I mean, for us, it's not new for us to embrace
Right.
it, but to see that you also have sort of a track to build these new buyers for the brand and for PCA. I think
it's expanding our customer base and making it more diverse. And that is why as we grow and we have more offerings in the vehicles that we have, it's because we also need to engage new audiences and we need to make sure that we are bringing new people into our brand. But if we do bring them in, we need to make sure that we're offering something that they want.
Yeah, and many of them, we talked a little bit earlier about the social media and influencers that are coming
Yes.
to the events. These are folks that have a big audience.
Yes, exactly. And they're telling our story. And we love that. And they're telling it in an authentic way that resonates with them, which then resonates with their audience.
So we had a PCA cruise. This is part of this topic, so I'm not all going off topic. But on the first seminar was Meet the Presenters.
Okay?
And it happened to be all men. But they all told a story about how they were asked to come on this cruise. And the first reaction was, well, I'm not a cruise person. I really don't want to go. But I asked my spouse or my partner, and they were like, yes, we're going.
Yes.
And so I told them, I was like, you do realize that women are the decision maker here. You need to market to the decision makers. The guys aren't making the decision. It's the wives or the partners are making the decision on this.
And they're
And
making it
that's-
as a team.
As a team.
And that's
As a
what you
team.
should go after. And I thought that's how Porsche, I think, looks at it now, too, is
Yeah.
that
Yes.
It's much easier when both want to do the same
Same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you have always supported us,
Yes.
the club.
Yes.
And we don't talk weekly, but
Yes.
with Kathy Lee,
Absolutely.
which I do speak weekly. We appreciate the support that you sort of convey from Porsche AG, Porsche Cars North America. What does PCA mean to you?
Oh, again, community. It means advocacy. It means the love and the passion that your members have. We never take that for granted. We are very lucky to have such a great group of people who love our brand so much. Sometimes it's a little intimidating that we have continued over the years as a brand to continue to build products that your audience and your members still love.
They bought the first one or
I was
whatever.
going to say, exactly, from the very
Yeah.
first to even the last that we're producing now. And to me, that is very comforting to know that we have an organization in the Porsche Club of America that supports, is always cheering us on as a brand, always on the forefront of whatever we need you guys to embrace, you're there. I don't think a brand can ask for anything more. And we really, really appreciate the love and the passion that your organization has for us.
And we certainly don't take that for granted. We had our open house last weekend, and we do some tours of the office. And I kind of kick off the tour with how fortunate we are that we have such an incredible relationship with the manufacturer, and that the fact that when you do pretty much anything, you always kind of take a step and think, is there a role for
the
PCA,
Absolutely.
role for PCA volunteers? And other car clubs can only dream of that.
Yeah.
There's car clubs out there that the manufacturer actively tells them, we don't want anything to do with you.
But
You know,
there's
and-
no Porsche without the PCA. It's not.
Oh, wow.
That is a T-shirt right there. Put that on the banner.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that'll be the title of this
This
one. Yeah,
podcast,
this
that's right.
podcast. No, but it means a lot to us,
Yes.
and I know you believe it, and that's why I always say whatever you ask of us, we just consider a yes.
Yes.
We just figure out the details of how to make things happen.
And I think the best example of us collaborating and coming together over the history of this company is Rennsport.
Oh, yes.
If you had to ask me or ask anyone in the organization, that's what it is about. That's the family reunion.
Absolutely.
And that's why when I say that statement, that is what I mean by that. Rennsport would not be Rennsport without having you guys as a main contributor, a partner of ours in such an event like Rennsport Reunion.
And again, when you all decided that was going to take place,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure within the hour you were reaching out to us and just
Absolutely.
saying, here's a heads up.
Absolutely.
We're going to do this. And you put us on, we're literally on the same calls with you
Yes.
every week or every 2 weeks. As we got closer, it was seemed like daily,
Yes.
but we're honored.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we,
thank you.
the volunteers absolutely love it, and they know it's special to them
Yep.
to be a part of it. Manny, the
That's
last
right.
one took the lead on it, and unfortunately I didn't get to
I know.
see how it all came about in person, but that is probably the example.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that is.
That's the number
That's
one
it.
question I get is, where's the next Rennsport going to be?
I know.
And I always tell them, I go, I'm pretty sure they're not even thinking about it yet.
We're thinking, but it's not
decided yet, at least,
hasn't been decided.
Because what a lot of people don't understand, I want to get back to Rennsport, but
Yes.
a lot of you guys are very cyclical, and you have
Yes.
a pretty busy schedule without Rennsport being thrown in. So it's not like you have an
Absolutely.
open month where nothing goes on.
Correct.
This, putting Rennsport was a
We do
pretty
it.
big deal, and it's grown so much
Yes.
from what
Yes.
originally. I
Because
don't know
the
if Bob
brand has
Carlson.
grown.
I don't know if Bob Carlson realized how
I
big this
know.
thing would become, and become, like you say, a brand that's exclusive to North America.
Exactly.
It's not a worldwide thing. There's not
No.
Rennsports in
No.
Europe. But people from Europe
Only
come
here.
here because
about
of the
to
Rennsport brand.
experience it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a North American experience, but
Yes.
the global enthusiasts and the Porsche departments all over the world want to be a part of it. So now you have to
Absolutely.
juggle. Those are our brothers and sisters overseas. I want to help them, but
and we
there's
want them to be a part of it.
But there's that's a lot of juggling pieces.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's growing in such a fantastic way because, as our portfolio grows, as your membership grows, as our customer base grows, our dealer organization grows, all of that is good. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that we can incorporate that in such an event like Rennsport because it's the only one that is really curated for everyone that loves the brand.
Yeah. It's an astonishing event. This relationship between PCA and PAG and PCNA is one of one, but Rennsport is one of one.
Yes.
I can't think of any other brand in any vertical that does anything like it or could do anything like it. It's
Yes.
just really an amazing thing to experience and be part of.
Thank
it really
you.
is unique in all the world.
How many people do you think? Because I remember when I was part of all the calls, and it was like maybe 10 working groups.
Yes.
And you had the leader, I guess, the
Yes.
10, and then some of the sub leaders. But then someone said, well, each working group has so many people, like 20 some people. And oh, by the way, there's another 6 more that
Yes.
aren't included in these calls. And
It was a large team. I mean, it touched, Rennsport touches our entire organization. There's not one department within Porsche Cars North America that does not have, that doesn't have a hand
A role
in
in,
or a
yeah.
role in curating or helping bring Rennsport to life. That's why it's such a unique event because it is not just a marketing event. It is a Porsche Cars North America event.
and the fact that it's just one manufacturer.
Just one mark. That's it.
I always
Just the
I always
crest.
try to take the time sometime during Rennsport, and I look back and I think, what other manufacturer would just kill to have this type of enthusiasm,
Yes.
passion for one mark of vehicle? It's hard to explain
Yes,
to people when
it
you're
really
going
is.
that you're only going to see one type of car.
They're
Somebody
going to have
says
to
that
go.
gets kind of boring.
They're
I'm
going to have
like,
to go do
no.
their
Yeah,
research
yeah.
and look for some videos. There's many of them out there, but I think they would be very excited to see what Rennsport is all
Sure.
about.
And I'll circle back to your efficient team.
Yes.
You still have other things to do in addition to
To-
all this preparation for Rennsport and then activate it.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It is, but like I said, it comes down to one word, and that's passion.
You were still smiling at the end
Yes.
when you gave the last speech.
She was smiling because it's done.
No. It was great. It
Yeah.
was a magical time.
And let me guess what, as you were leaving
Yes.
Rennsport,
Yes.
probably the most common question that you got
Yes.
was when and where is the next
next
one?
one.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I still
Right.
get that
Yeah, you
question
still
on a
get it,
daily
yeah.
basis.
Yeah. Can you give me
And
the- have you been
soon,
thinking-
hopefully soon and very soon, we will be able to communicate
and the rhythm of Rennsport, typically 4 or 5 years.
Yes, it's
right?
at different cadences,
Yep.
but in the last, I would say, 2 years, so the iteration, the Rennsport 6 and Rennsport 7, it has been a 5-year cadence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that sounds, normally 5 years would be a long
So
time.
and it always hit the anniversaries. So 75th
but 5
anniversary.
years is not a lot of time to put together an event
Of that size.
of that size and caliber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we
That's
started
why
doing
it
the
takes
calls
a
like
big
an hour.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
a year and a half we started doing the calls. So,
Absolutely.
I'm sure before then they were obviously talking about it as well. So
Yes.
it's like you said, monumental, but you're also doing everything you usually
Supposed to
do
do
during
on
the year
time.
Yeah.
at the same time. So
Yes.
And then the next one obviously always has to be better.
Yes.
So then you talk about venues, then you
Yes.
talk about what are you going to do.
And even more inclusive, and have all the things that our brand is known for, and even the future of the brand, as we were just talking about with our electric vehicles, being able to showcase them, being able to showcase our motorsports DNA, showcasing any new vehicles that we have. That's what Rennsport is all about. It's about paying homage to the past, but more importantly, showing the vision of where the company is going to in the future.
And everything that you're doing along those lines definitely affects PCA. We
Yes.
literally see our membership go up
Yes.
when there's special events such as that. So my next question too is really going to tap into your marketing side. We're fortunate enough to be a car club that continues to grow, and that is bucking the trend of most car clubs.
Right.
However, there's always room for improvement,
Yes.
and we see you've had record sales recently, and we see the number of cars that are being sold annually versus the level of growth in the club. Yes, we're ecstatic that we're a club that continues to grow, and we've 165,000 members in the U.S. and Canada. But if you take the number of cars that you've sold
Yes.
and the number of members that we're getting new each year, they don't align. A lot of people think they would align a lot closer. So my question to you is, do you have any, suggestions, tips for PCA to perhaps either tap into something new or
Right. I would say, lean into variety. I know we tend to do things that are more customized to and tailored to your current membership. But sometimes I think it's beneficial to lean into new experiences that would then garner and warrant other newer members to want to come into, because they feel it's being able to relate to different people in their interests and their wants. So say for instance, if you're starting to lean into bringing more women in, then you would think at some of your events you would maybe have a paint and sip experience, or maybe an opportunity for a casual bike ride with the electric bikes with a group of driven women, led by one of our women motorsports drivers. It's doing things that are customizable for that audience that you are trying to attract. I think doing that and leaning in and being intentional about curating your message as we curate our communication to the audience that we're trying to reach, it goes a long way. And it really shows that you care about what they want instead of doing what is pretty much expected of your current membership.
Yeah, I think,
If that makes sense.
I think Manny and Rob will share that we do try to do that.
Yes.
And Dr. Karen Cooper, past president
Yes.
of PCA, she was the one that really highlighted the fact that we have to make, because we are all inclusive,
Yes.
that we have to
have options.
we have
right?
options for over six generations. Six
yes.
generations, right? And so the people that have joined PCA early on, our founders and such, we honor their traditions. But
Yes.
what you're saying, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, like the new people that are coming in, it's our responsibility to create experiences and events that create new traditions
That's
that
right.
they can relate to and they can call their own. We're not going to forget.
That's
We're
right.
not going to forget where we came from.
Yes.
But we have to create new ones, because
It's layering on new ones.
where when I came on in 2005, 2006, and I use this example as I think through a lot, is when the Cayenne came in, like we tried to get Cayenne owners to fit into the system that we had. They're like, and it is capable. It is a
Yes.
car that you could autocross. It is a
Absolutely.
performance, but those people that bought those cars
Yeah.
weren't looking to do that. So you
Right.
need to create
They
options.
didn't buy
for
him to take him to the racetrack.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
They
exactly.
could take it to the racetrack,
Yes.
but that's not why they
But
bought
But
that's
it.
then
not-
I bet you curated cool driving, mountain driving
Tours
experience.
have
and tours
been incredible. You see Cayennes
So you
and-
didn't substitute, you didn't take away the track experience. You added on another experience that they could then feel comfortable and also feel included
exactly
in what you were doing.
And the more and more they would participate, they would then start to see some of our traditional
Traditions,
offerings,
yes.
and they go, "Wait a minute,
That's
that looks
cool as
that looks
well.
like fun too."
Yes.
And then they're done. They're
Yes.
just their lifers after that, right?
Exactly.
But you have to give them that opportunity to relate and come through the door
On their
of our
own
house on
terms.
their own terms.
Yes.
Exactly.
Is that something you do now in your position, is having to keep abreast of what's new, what's current, or
Absolutely.
what you think is going to be,
Yes.
not just sitting on your laurels, but every year you almost have to reinvent something.
Prime example, like we were talking earlier, South by Southwest. Some of our traditional automotive events that we've done, Amelia Island Concours, Monterey Car Week, we still do. We still curate
Your
these
drive
cool,
program.
our drive programs, cool experiences. But if we want to reach a driven youth audience that's more tech savvy, that's more into culture and music and technology and art, you need to go to where they are, and that's a South by Southwest. So we show up there in a different way than we would show up at Monterey Car Week. But it's still authentic to Porsche, but we tailor our message so that they can relate to what we're trying to showcase and what we're trying to say in the environment that they feel comfortable in.
Yeah. Well, it's a particularly relevant conversation for
Yes.
me to be part of as an editor and a content creator, because occasionally we struggle to speak to the four-door crowd. We can
Yes.
be a little bit 9/11 centric at times. So
Okay.
we have to think of some different ways of appealing
Different
to
activities, yes.
that segment that keeps growing and,
Yes.
and keeps getting more and more important to PCA.
Absolutely.
So before I ask my last question, I'm
Okay.
going to do a little bit of housekeeping for those of you that are listening and you haven't joined on our online newsletters. We have eBreak News, Performance News, Mart Fresh News. Just head over to pca.org and get signed up. It's free. For those of you that are looking for insider shirts, mugs, etc., head over to the PCA web store. We also have PCA Insider decals. Just send us a note at podcast@pca.org. We'd love to send you a set there. And if you're looking to race against your peers, but not necessarily out on the road or on the track, we have PCA Sim Racing. Will help you get set up and race against your peers and active where they say the racing is real and the cars are not.
And muddy is it?
And if something happens, you can hit reset and start all over again.
No money shift, no tires to buy.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So my last question, I'm
Yes.
assuming that your daily is a Porsche.
It is.
And if you could share what that is, and
Okay.
then is there a aspirational Porsche that you'd also like to put into the in the
Wow.
garage or driveway?
Okay, so my daily driver is a Boxster GTS, specifically in Ruby Star.
Very
wow.
nice.
Nice.
Very
Because
nice.
that is my favorite. Ruby Star Neo. That is my favorite Porsche
You
color.
get a lot of looks driving that car.
You
A
think?
lot.
Really?
More importantly, with the premiere of Barbie,
Yeah.
I even get more because it is the ultimate as far as color Barbie car. But if I had to choose any Porsche ever, and that would be, I call it my forever Porsche, that would be the 911 Turbo S, because it's powerful and stylish.
Oh, very good. I agree with you. One, Ruby Star.
In Ruby Star.
In Ruby Star as
In
well.
Ruby Star
oh,
Neo.
That would be over the top.
Yes.
The thing is, we were fortunate, thank you to your team. We had a Ruby Star Cayman.
Nice.
Style edition.
Style edition.
Okay.
And we know the car is special. But
Yes.
when you have it in a color such as Ruby Star,
Yes.
every time you walk up to the car, you feel like this is going
It
to
just
be
makes you smile.
This will be a special experience.
Yes.
And people around you
Yes.
know that you're having a very special
Or a
experience.
midlife crisis. Because no one looked at me twice.
I enjoyed my time with it, but a Turbo S
Yes.
is an incredible car.
Yes.
And I think there are memes about, would you take a GT3 versus a Turbo S? And I found out really
Yes.
how incredibly capable for the mortal driver.
Oh,
For
that's what I was going to say. If
someone
you
that-
want to drive it every day, you can drive that
you
every
can
day.
drive that every day, and the power and how seamless it is.
And
how
why
comfortable
wouldn't
it's-
you want to drive it every day?
Because I don't have a lawyer good enough to get me out.
Oh, Manny.
Man.
I would need a lawyer or retainer. Even with your Boxster GTS, I would be in trouble.
Yes.
Well,
Fun and fast.
thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
with us.
It's been a pleasure.
I gotta
Thank
say,
you
and
for
I
being here.
And I told you this privately, but we are so proud of you.
Oh, thank you,
Watching,
Manny.
because we've known you so long, and whenever you got promoted, and we found out who the new person was in that position was you, we were the sigh relief because we
Yeah.
said
Aw.
She gets
this
it.
is
That's
this
right.
is a supporter of PCA, and we don't have to introduce PCA to her, and if she gets it,
Yes.
and it's someone we can count on. That has met.
Thank you.
What do we say?
Tremendous
We say to
things.
her, we say, just don't forget us little people.
No, never. And I will never, I'm always available, and I'm always, in touch with you and just a phone call away. But I also have you in capable, loving hands.
Yes.
With Kathy Lee and with Philip.
Say Philip also, we told him
Yes.
it was great watching him also get promoted. It's a great team,
Absolutely.
like you said, you have.
Yes.
And I think it just shows in all the events you all host and everything you do. You make it look easy, and
Oh,
that's
thank
usually
you.
a good sign.
Thank you.
But I'm sure
We know the
it's
reality
It's a
of
lot
it
of
all.
work and everything, but you
Well,
make it
you
seem
know
so
what kind of
seamless.
work
Yeah.
it is because we're in the trenches together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, thank you
Thank you.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head over to pca.org. If you're looking for a Porsche, we have the test drive program where we'll unlock resources and you'll be able to find that special Porsche for your driveway or garage. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes photos and videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. And again, like, comment, and subscribe. I believe we just crested over 97,000 subscribers. So
Wow,
that silver plaque
amazing.
is getting closer and closer. Until next time, stay safe and we'll catch you down the road.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.